Meet Eugene. Eugene Broom is a fisherman from Port Mouton, and Eugene Broom's words on this poster say, "Something's wrong when you have to work this hard just to keep your friggin' harbor." Port Mouton has had a fish farm lease for over 20 years. 20 years ago, when a nice little man from Shelburne County came to town, he asked if he could set up a few small pens and raise some trout. The good fishermen of Port Mouton thought about it and thought, oh well, what harm can it be done? He's a nice guy, and we need help with our harbor authority. Fish farming was introduced. 2 years later, he sold his business, and that small little trout farm was enlarged, and salmon were introduced. During the first 2 years of the little trout business, the fishermen began to suspect things were going wrong. Their nets and pens and anchors, or I should say their lobster pots, anchors and pen and ropes, were being covered with slime algae. And the lobsters, which were once very plentiful around the fish farm site, disappeared. With the introduction of the trout came increased slime that radiated out from the farm. During the next 10 years, shellfish such as periwinkles, scallops, clams, and lobsters all disappeared in the area, as well as beds of eelgrass, Irish moss, and kelp. In 2006, the community of Port Mouton was awoken by the news that a 28-hectare expansion was going to be granted to the then second company who was in the bay. Our alarm bells rang and Friends of Port Mouton Bay was born. Friends of Port Mouton Bay is a 100% volunteer-driven organization. It's made up of volunteers like Ron Lux and his wife Ruth Smith. It's made up of people like Arena Wilkelman, who sit in the back in the red shirt, who designs our website. It's made up of volunteers like Gloria Gilbert that you saw on the screen on Donald Cameron's thing. It's made up by graphic artists who design our fish farming signs. It's made up of fishermen. It is made up of housewives and nephews and sons and people from the community of Port Mouton, and also from people from Halifax and Liverpool and the Valley and Toronto and California. It is made up of people who know Port Mouton Bay, and it is made up of people who have watched while Port Mouton Bay has changed because of a fish farm. We were saved in 2009 by a moratorium that our provincial government at the time granted against any further expansion of fish farming. That moratorium did not prevent the small farm that was there to keep existing. Enter owner number 3, Cook Aquaculture. Cook Aquaculture liked to present a corporate image, and they were a bit disheartened by what they inherited. They inherited a sick farm. They inherited too many dead fish. They inherited a big pot of trouble, and they inherited Friends of Port Mouton Bay. We met with Cook Aquaculture, CEO Nell Waltz, owner Glenn Cook, Mike Smyrna, and a host of others from the company. Some agreements were made, which I won't go into, but probably one of the biggest ones that irked me was that we had to give up our sign. Donnie, hold up the sign. They didn't like our sign, Nell said, wanted it banned. We hummed and we hawed, and we decided we'd make a pretty sign. So we put up a prettier sign. There's one down in the back. Oh, there's a couple. So we made pretty signs. They didn't like our website. Take your website down, we were told. On that, we said no. Our website is there and it will remain. We did these things because they said they would fallow for a few years, empty the site of everything, and allow our science. Come to find out, we didn't really have to negotiate at all, because they had been instructed by the provincial government to do such that. However, being good little troopers, we played along. Ron and Ruth did their science, and we submitted dozens of scientific reports to the provincial government. We spent dozens of days engaged in conversation. We did everything in our power to be good little boys and girls. We didn't rain on their parade when they came to White Point for their caucus meetings. We didn't shame them in the press. We honestly believed that the science we had would do the good that we knew. However, science does not prevail when it comes to industry in the year 2012. The fish farm at Port Mouton Bay is presently still empty, but last week the news came through that we now have owner number 4. And owner number 4 is going to start operations immediately. This news has hurt and it has insulted the people of Port Mouton. We have been hardworking, we have been respectful, we have spoken the truth when it comes to the effects of this industry in our bay. We have been kind to government, and we have been very careful to remain free of partisan government politics. However, government is partisan, and the world is run on politics.